Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadians are on a heater. They're on a 7-game win streak. They just won their 7th game in a row against the New York Rangers, 3-2 in New York, and a perfect 4-0 so far on this road trip here. And they're looking very, very solid. I think this is one of their best games yet. There was definitely some hiccups, especially late into the third period. The New York Rangers definitely came back and made things interesting, largely due to the play of Shesterkin there, keeping them, in that conversation going all the way through. But I think in general, a very solid game for everybody involved. Obviously, like Cole Caufield, the guy who, does a lot of the heavy lifting there. He gets 2 goals there, but, a solid effort from pretty much everybody. I think even Fowler, he let in 2 goals there, but I still think he looked very, very solid in the net there. Obviously, he's still young and, he's working on his game for sure, but I think, he made some good saves when he needed to, and, they definitely made a push in the third period, and he made some big saves, late into that game with the net empty and all that kind of stuff to keep us in that one and have us win 3-2 there. So, again, like a very, very solid game. I think I'm very happy with where the team is at right now. Obviously, there's not much to complain about when the Canadians have won 7 games in a row. I can't even remember the last time the Canadians had done that, all in regulation as well. And it's looking very good as we go towards the playoffs here. Obviously, with how crazy this East playoff race is, we're definitely not going to clinch for a little while yet, unfortunately. But, it's seeming more and more likely that the Canadians will be playing playoff games. I mean, let's face it, we're at like a 99.98% chance or something like that, according to the big wheel or whatever. Obviously, that's largely due to the fact that there's a number of teams still in the race in that Eastern Conference there. There's a reason why nobody in the Eastern Conference has clinched other than Carolina, who clinched today. But it's a crazy thing that's going on right now in that wild card position, and it is very, very nice to not be in that position right now. I can tell you that. So looking at the standings here, before we get into the game, the Canadians have 98 points on the season in 75 games, 44, 21, and 10. So obviously, a round of applause for that just on its own. But that only puts us 2 points behind both Buffalo and Tampa. And with 1 game remaining for the Habs against Tampa, and 7 games left in total for the Canadians there, it's looking like it's definitely, not completely impossible for the Canadians to not only pass, one of those guys, but actually win the division outright, which is kind of crazy considering, where we've been all throughout the season. It feels like we've been, third in the Atlantic for like months and months and months now. Like I don't think we've ever even left that position all season long. So it would definitely be interesting to see if we could make a late push. Obviously, we can't stop winning games right now. We're on a 7-game win streak. So, hottest team in the NHL right now. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely within reach, but obviously we're going to have to play very, very well down the stretch to make that happen. But it's very interesting to see what will happen there. As of right now, if the playoffs were to start today, the Canadians would play the Buffalo Sabres in the first round, which is definitely an interesting matchup. I'm not really sure it's the one that we want, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, Tampa, Buffalo, Boston, pretty much everybody in the East is going to be a tough competition for the Habs. I think that the Habs are a tough competition as well. I don't think the Habs are a team, especially right now, that a lot of teams want to play against either. But it'll be very interesting to see where all things shake up here. But obviously, the best we can do, the better we can do down the stretch here, the better our opponent will be theoretically. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. Obviously, looking behind us a little bit, we now have a 4-point lead on Boston, which is a little bit a breathing room there. We've been neck and neck with them for a number of weeks now, but Boston did lose to the Florida Panthers tonight 2-1, which keeps them at 94 points and at the top of the wild card. Us with 98 points. We've got that 4-point lead on them there, which is very, very nice. And then we also have a 10-point lead on Ottawa, who is in the second wild card, and a 10-point lead on Detroit as well as Columbus, and a 12-point lead on anybody else all the way down. So it's looking very, very good for the Canadians. I think we only really need 1 or 2 more wins, considering losses that are happening elsewhere, for the Canadians to find themselves in a playoff position. But obviously we're not just looking to clinch the playoffs. We want to be in as good of a position as we can possibly be, all the way towards the end of the season here. So it'll be very interesting to see how things go throughout the remainder of this season here. So going into the game in of itself here, nothing too much going on in the first period. I felt like throughout the entirety of the first period, we really commanded the play. We were very much on top of the Rangers offensively, keeping their chances at bay for the most part there, despite the fact that we did take a few penalties in that period. Slavkovsky pretty early on got himself a double minor for high sticking, which was unfortunate, but did a really nice job on that penalty kill, making sure that the Rangers didn't get themselves too many, high danger chances. Fowler had to make one or two saves in there, so he did a good job when he needed to be there. But generally speaking, a pretty good kill. I felt like the entire period we pretty much we're on top of them. We were doing a nice job there. Obviously, you don't really want to be in a position to take a 4-minute double minor pretty early on in a game, especially a game that we were having chances early and all that kind of stuff. But it's just a testament to the way that our defense plays, and the fact that we have all of these guys like Joe Veleno and who's been playing very well recently as of note, and also Jake Evans and Deneau, Gallagher, Anderson, and all of our defensemen that can play very well in that defensive role there. I think Hudson was in on there a little bit too, so very good to see all of those guys getting to work and making sure that the Rangers didn't get too many chances on a power play that they're actually very good at scoring at. So very good job there. And then we go into the second period. We really start to kind of break things open a little bit, starting with Alex Newhook, who scores his 12th goal of the season there. It's a little bit of a cough-up play that the Rangers are trying to break out of the zone. They cough the puck up a little bit. Demidov is able to take the puck away. He kind of does a nice job here. It's kind of a 2-on-1 sort of situation. A lot of guys are still in the zone, but only one defenseman really in a position to defend after that takeaway. Newhook kind of opens up for the one-timer right away, but Demidov kind of sells like he's going to go in alone and make a move, and then suddenly makes a pass over to Newhook. Newhook does not make any mistakes on that one-time rip, finds the back of the net there, and Newhook, I think, he deserves a lot of credit. He's been playing very, very well down the stretch here. Obviously, he played very well before his injury, and he really has not missed a beat at all coming back from his injury since. He's been playing very well, and he's a guy that I think the Canadians are definitely going to lean on for offense, for his skating and all of that kind of stuff that he can bring to the team, as we go into the playoffs here. So very good to see him finding a way to break the ice and get on the score sheet there. He gets his 12th goal of the season. Ivan Demidov, the big assist there, gets his 43rd assist of the season there. So great work from both of those guys. And then an even better goal comes a couple minutes later. Cole Caufield scores his 48th goal of the season, and this one is a beauty here. Some very nice work in the offensive zone. The top line is really making the Rangers defense sweat a little bit, doing a lot of work on the cycle, and then we end up getting a really, really nice play where Suzuki gets the puck kind of in the left, under the left corner there, behind the net there. He makes a pass over to Slavkovsky, and Slavkovsky makes an absolute beauty of a pass there. Really not even a pass, he just kind of angles his stick in such a way that the puck kind of bounces off of his stick and deflects right over to Cole Caufield, who is winding up for a slap shot bomb. He absolutely rips that thing into the top left corner there. Shesterkin was still kind of looking behind him when it went back into the net there. So a very nice passing play, a very high IQ pass from Slavkovsky to find Caufield in that position, and that is a very pretty goal, a tic-tac-toe kind of goal there. So very, very nice assist from Slavkovsky, who gets his 38th of the season. Suzuki gets his 66th, but perhaps most importantly, Cole Caufield with that goal goes 2 away from a 50-goal season. So very, very nice goal there, and I honestly cannot believe that we're even talking about 50 goals with Cole Caufield right now. It is absolutely unbelievable what he's been able to do, and obviously he doesn't stop there, as we'll talk about in a minute, but a very, very nice goal, and it just feels like like it always has felt that way, but I think more now than perhaps ever before, it really just feels like Cole Caufield can just score from anywhere. It doesn't matter where he's got the puck or whatever, like what the situation is. If Cole Caufield's got the puck and he's got a little bit of room there, he's going to find empty net and he's going to bury. So it's just, he's been absolutely impressive. He's been amazing down the stretch here this entire season. So very, very nice goal. And that gives us a 2-goal lead. And we needed all of those goals because late into the third period, or halfway in, and then with 5 or 6 minutes left, Adam Fox and Will Cooley both score goals there to tie that game up. Adam Fox one comes off of kind of just a broken play a little bit. It's a scramble in around the net, but for whatever reason, Fowler just couldn't find a way to cover that one, which was kind of a little bit of an issue down the stretch into that game there, into the final moments as well. Just a little bit of difficulty with Fowler trying to, cover the puck and get a whistle there. It's kind of what happens in this one. It just bounces around and, nobody's got an eye on it. Nobody's got a stick on it, and it ends up squirting out to Adam Fox, who just throws it right back on the net, and it finds its way past Fowler. And then the Will Cooley one is another one. It's just like a little bit of a broken play there. Again, it's more transition defense, which is kind of a weak point of the Canadiens this season. But, it just, Brodzinski just kind of gives a pass over to Cooley. Cooley's just kind of driving the net. He finds himself, I think somehow he gets a stick on it or whatever, but he's basically just crashing right into the net, and there you go. He finds his way to get that one through. They tried to challenge that one. They were looking at it to potentially challenge. I think it's a smart decision not to, but I think it's just one of those things. You got a big guy driving the net there, goes into the crease, and you could maybe argue that there's something there, but I think it was definitely a smart decision by Martin St. Louis to just let that one go, considering the game's tied, and then he goes and puts his best players on the ice and try to get one back there. So I think that was a wise choice from Martin St. Louis to just leave that one there and then just go put his top guys out and see what happens. And obviously it worked out very well for him, because less than 50 seconds later, Cole Caufield scores again, and this one is a beauty as well. He's driving in. I think it's like a 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 play. Cole Caufield just kind of drives and he makes a little forehand kind of chip towards the middle. It's a very nice play. He kind of changes the angle, chips over the defender's stick, and then just kind of sweeps that thing. It goes right through the 5-hole of Shesterkin. It's his 49th goal of the season, and it's a 3-2 game with about 5 minutes left there. And just what a play by Caufield. This guy, I'm telling you, if he the first one was impressive, and this one is just unreal. Just the way that he can drive in, and anytime he's got a position where he can get a shot off and it's not going to get blocked or whatever, it's going to find a way in. It just feels like every time Cole Caufield, since the moment he got into into the NHL in the first place, anytime he's got a position to shoot the puck, it's going to find a way in the net, and that's exactly what happened on this one. I feel like Shesterkin, one of the best goalies in the NHL in general, and somehow Cole Caufield beats him 5-hole on just kind of like a sweep shot from the high slot, and it's unreal what he can do there. And just the chip towards the middle to change the angle changes everything for Shesterkin as well, and it's just unreal. Cole Caufield gets his 49th of the season there, so again he's doing so well, and it's incredible. And they're game-winning goals too. I think this is 3 games in a row where Cole Caufield gets the game-winning goal in regulation there. So unreal there. Not much else I can say in that situation. He's goal Caufield for a reason. It's his 49th, and now he's only 1 goal away from that 50-goal season. So Mike Matheson gets his 30th assist there, and Nick Suzuki his 67th assist on the season on that goal there. So again, just absolutely unreal. And from there, we weren't losing that game after that happened. So unfortunately, Cole Caufield did not get on the ice for an empty net goal. It would have been fun, but it was not meant to be in that situation there. But Jacob Fowler and our defense held down the fort for the remaining 5 minutes of that game. Fowler, I think, played his best hockey in that last 5 minutes there. He was doing very well to shut down the opposition's chances there. New York got a lot of shots towards the net and a lot of screens, a lot of big bodies on the Rangers offense there. So Fowler did a nice job holding down the fort and making sure that the Canadiens got out of there with that 2 points there. So very, very nice job from everybody. I felt like it was a very complete game. Obviously we had a little bit of a lapse in that third period to let them back into it a little bit, but things are going to happen. And I like, especially that last goal to make it 3-2 from Cole Caufield, that resiliency from this group. They're down. They were up 2-0, and now all of a sudden we're, tied 2-2, and now our win streak is in jeopardy. But the Canadians go right back to work, and with less than a minute later, they find a way to get that game-winning goal. So again, like they've been completely impressive this year. It's been very, very fun to watch, and I think we're just in a fantastic spot moving forward here. So a great win. Not much else to say about that one. We're just looking forward to, we got 2 games coming up this weekend, both against the New Jersey Devils, and we are just looking forward to Cole Caufield getting a chance to put 50 in the net there. So it's going to be very exciting this weekend. We got a back-to-back, as I said, against the Devils. Game 1 on Saturday night. So, I mean, if Cole Caufield's going to score 50, it's going to be on Saturday night, I would imagine, right? But yeah, we got a back-to-back, first in New Jersey, and then on Sunday in the Bell Center there, both against the New Jersey Devils there. 2 games that are very winnable for the Canadians. It's like incredibly feasible that the Canadians come, out of the weekend trip here, up 9 games in a row there after 2 wins against Devils here. Obviously, the Devils, they're not a bad team by any stretch. They got Jack Hughes. They got a lot of guys who can play very well. So we're going to have to be sharp and continue to try our best to win games and get every point possible. But I think it'll be a very exciting weekend. So that is pretty much all I have for this one. Cole Caufield is just the GOAT. He's incredible, and I love watching him play. And I am very, very excited to talk to you all again this weekend after Cole Caufield scores 50 and the Canadians get 2 points and a big win over the Devils on Saturday.